Hi. This is going to be a phone call I make to the president of my country's office. It's not a real office, it's just a floating office. Every time I do it, it's make this big, massive, impressive speech on some lady or your girl working in the office, and she just kind of goes, okay then. So I might have more permanence if I just make a video and put it up. So this is for the attention of the president's not real office, for the attention of everyone, mainly for the attention of women because they have sympathies or empathies into this situation I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about birth. I'm going to talk about birth and things that can go wrong during birth. Long and complicated, drawn out births. Complicated, long and scary, isn't it? It's a very scary thought. Long and complicated and drawn out birth. Lots of things become at risk, don't they? The life of the mother, the life of the child. Now, I'm really going to talk about is just some poetry. No one asked me this recently, but I was just thinking this recently. No one asked me. Favorite poet. So everyone thinks I'm some sort of master poet. My favorite poetry is in the Bible. The greatest poetry that I've ever read is contained within the Holy Bible. And I'm going to start at the beginning and the end. And this massive cycle of poetry. At the beginning, you're told. Very bright there. That's weird. At the beginning, you're told, due to the fall. I can talk more about like Genesis, like I can go on and on about Genesis. But you will, your condition now that you fall in the condition of the fallen state, you'll believe in such things as anonymity and division and separatity and anonymity. Basically, you believe in this as an illusion. You're all meant to be one big happy family, but you believe in separate division and illusion. This is one thing, but you'll also suffer great birth pangs. Again, we're talking about birth. You'll also suffer great birth pangs. These birth pangs are like overcomings on the earth, and Christianity is the revelation of all prophecy and is truth. It's found in Jesus Christ. Christianity was a very good analogy of this birth pang, and it happens over and over again. And sometimes, the mother dies, Jeremiah. Sometimes the whole city is burnt and destroyed. So what you have is a baby that's being born. I call it the reluctant under the lonely hermit, as I call it. But and you have the reluctant mother, perhaps, a world that's reluctant to give birth, and that's going to be a very long and complicated, drawn-out birth procedure when you're a reluctant mother and you don't want to give birth. Well, you might. It's weird that you'd be a reluctant mother while you're giving birth. Usually, mothers are screaming, "Get this thing out of me!" Sorry, not to be so cold, but so why wouldn't you want to be why would you be such a reluctant mother? Again, Christianity is something like this, and they tried to stamp it out and persecute it. The world was going to go through a birth pang. Things were going to change. Tide has grown. There's going to be a kid, and he's like King David, and he's technically going to be the king of the whole world. And it's very inconvenient for all the many kings all over the world who are like, oh, I'm king of the world. Why is he so important? They start comparing to him. And it's tough shit, Paddy, because that's the thing. That's the whole problem with the Bible. Is none of these people could ever afford this humility, like in Titus Grown, and they were reluctant mothers, weren't they? They didn't want to accept the new situation that King David is the king of the whole fucking universe. And like in Titus Grown, a lot of rich people were displaced and were unhappy and lost their careers. Blah blah blah. Who cares? They're terrible people, to be honest. Mostly anyway. So birth pangs, and you'll suffer many of these. So that's what happens, gone over and over and over again, different birth pangs. And at the very end, we get to this situation where you see this mother and she's giving birth, and awaiting the baby to be born is a serpent, a snake that's going to consume her baby the second it's born. And that might be a reason why you're a reluctant mother. You don't want to give birth to this child. Now, this child must be born. This child God wants this child to live so much that God won't actually let this child die. So then you have this very awkward predicament that the serpent is about to consume it, or whichever, I'm just saying. But this child won't die. So the equilibrium and stress really goes onto the mother in this situation, where this child won't die, and it might remain half-born in your womb for quite a while until the mother suffers many complications. The mother is the earth, the planet Earth on this occasion, the poetry I'm trying to refer to. The earth will suffer and burn and toil greatly before one person, and that person won't die. That person must be born, and the person won't be born, even God won't allow it to be born into the mouth of the serpent. So God might be preventing this birth, even though the woman is screaming, "Get this thing out of me!" God's like, no, I'm not going to let it be born into the mouth of the serpent, and I'm not going to let it die. And the world suffers greatly because of this. This is the poetry that's in the Bible. The world suffers greatly. The world is like a mother that's groaning and tormenting in agony. In Greek myth, there's some unique situations of Eurynome, and the mother actually kicks the teeth out of the serpent, and all the serpent's teeth become the stars of the night sky. It's beautiful Greek poetry. But that's another creation tale from ancient Greece. And the mother just like, oh, screw this, and she just kicks the teeth out of the serpent so the baby won't be consumed by the serpent upon birth. That's an interesting methodology, ladies, if you want to get out kicking and not taking modelling contracts. It was the nuns that kind of saved the Von Trapp family. And the women that Jesus educated also spoke, then defended him greatly and cried greatly on his behalf. But then he got in trouble for teaching women. So yeah, you're suffering greatly, and I won't die. I'm surrounded like King David. They're all over my neighborhood. It's not a big secret. And all the young lads that have been Tom Sawyer into doing it, little foot soldiers, have no idea what they're doing. And they surround me. There's cameras all over my estate now, you know, and they say it's like for his protection. It can't be interfered with, it can't be meddled. It's really silly. It's an exaggeration of principles that they're misusing or misinterpreting. So that's just what was I going to say? Yeah, so imagine I drop this on the phone, like there's some girl like behind a desk in the fake office of the fake office of the president's office. Oris Neutron. Do you think ice cream is Oris Neutron? Uktarocha. That's the one. That's Uktarocha. Anyway, so yeah, your world will suffer burn, and sadly to say, I'm not going to speak on the mercies of the Lord, but I'm fairly certain the kid kind of, and he might want the mother not to die either. Mum's the word, like, you know, so they both might suffer greatly and not die. And this might also happen, like the world. I don't believe the world ever goes into absolute zero. It goes down to like 1,040, 400 kind of thing, or something. It gets reduced down to a very prime quantity. But just like this, the world will, like the mother might be preserved just as much as the son on this occasion, and they both might suffer. One might smother, and yeah, it's not a nice. It's a very unimaginably long, drawn out, and complicated birth, ladies. Like, you know, if you can empathize, that it could go on for a very, 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 very long time. Yeah, so snakes out of the temple. That's what you got to do. You got to get the serpents out of the temple. And there's not supposed to be serpents in the temple in Ireland. That's one of the main things about Ireland. And you've got so many serpents, like snakes, coming out of your planes. Yeah, snakes out of the temple. Can't make it any easier to explain with the Mahon family and the Royal Union and Sinn Féin or IRA. So I'm going to get the serpents out of the temple. What would Jesus do? Because this will go on, and it's going to be very painful. It's very painful for me, and it's going to be very painful for you, world. Many birth pangs. I heard I had a Buddha birth. I had a Buddha barely made a sound. A whale sang a song in the distance, and we could hear the whale through the open window of the maternity ward. It was like not a sound. I don't even know if I cried. Came out dancing like Mark Bolan. So yeah, like I can try and make it easier. Like that's like the crux of like poetry, beginning and end, and it was the best poetry I've found in the world. If I can't make it any, I could get finger puppets. I will try. I'll try harder. I'll try harder to make the grown-ups of the world understand it. I could draw more pictures. I could use finger puppets. I could do something. Women with big breasts. I might listen to women with big breasts. Like get Jesse Jensen over. Maybe me and Jesse Jensen could do some fun with flags. All right. I've got more important things to do than save your balls and save your world. My very good friend requested me play some tracks of our old teenage garage band. So I'm gonna go rehearse a few of the tunes. I also want to post a Britney card. Looking well in every way there, B. Nice to just be nice to a heater, B. Or, you know, Disney kids. Once they're happy, you're happy. Nice. Looking great in every way there, B. Sounds like you've been in lots of singing. The voice sounds tired, but the voice sounds nice. Jamaica was nice. I would have just put that on the front of the book, you know. Britney's healed in Jamaica, saved and made in Jamaica. All the women in the world, you want to see it. Like they'd all start flocking to Jamaica. I want to go to Jamaica like Britney. I want to go, and Jamaica would be inundated. Of course, then you realise when you go to Jamaica, all the pretty little white girls will probably be disappearing. And it's not Jamaica's fault. That's more to do with Florida. Poor Jamaica and Haiti. You know what I mean? People wonder what's wrong with these countries. They're probably very beautiful countries originally, but Florida love countries that can barely take care of themselves, let alone the children. The kids just disappear. They fucking love that Florida. Going down to Brazil, the kids just disappearing. Coming over here, kids are disappearing. Snakes out, anyway. Snakes out of Jamaica, man. Snakes, well, you know, it's natural snakes or the serpents that need to be in Jamaica, beautiful Jamaica. Snakes out, man. Yeah, I got more important